When I talk about the friendly aspect of the Arnold Palmer effect, remember that that cannot be replaced by the professional aspect.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Hey everybody, I want to follow up to a podcast that I sent out a while ago, not too long ago. I don't remember the title of it, something to do with a good old boy, hanging out with a good old boy. And the purpose of the podcast was to talk to you about being friendly, and that we don't have to be robots, and we don't have to be so professional that we can't have a little friendly conversation with those that we deal with. Well, I've got a bit of an update and a little bit of a reversal today. But first, I want to remind you of a company which will allow you to be very professional, because you'll be able to keep up on your entire business by running this software. And by saying running the software, I mean you can run it from your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your computer. Anywhere that you have an internet connection and a screen, you will know what's going on with your business. It's ANOW software. You need to check them out if you have not, folks. It's ANOW.com. All right, a week or so ago, I came out with a mini-sode where I talked about an experience, an interaction that I had that was quite refreshing, honestly. And the purpose of the podcast was to, maybe paint this picture of sometimes we get a little stuffy as appraisers. We're so concerned about being professional and being called professional and acting professional that we forget that, we're just people, and we're just people having an interaction with one another. And we can be nice and we can have a friendly conversation. And I had a very enjoyable conversation with an appraiser that I'm dealing with, not on a professional level, but on a professional level, but not on a business level. I'm in the process of refinancing a property. And this particular appraiser was chosen not by myself, of course, but by the lender. And I had a wonderful conversation with this individual. He called me to set an appointment, and it was just refreshing all the way around. And I posted the podcast and said, we can have a little mix of friendly in there. I gave the analogy of the Arnold Palmer approach, and that's what I teach my customer service representatives, that they need to have a mixture of both friendly and professional, with emphasis on the professional, right? But we're people, and we can have nice, kind conversations. And it was just a great reminder of me, to me, of the type of customer service that I want to provide at my company. All right, fast forward. Let's just put it this way. I think I recorded the podcast way too soon. And I might be recording this one too soon as well, because this is still an ongoing story. But I did want to give you an update. And the reason I'm giving you an update, I want to be very, very clear on this. I am not throwing this individual under the bus. I have not shared with you his full name. I don't think I even mentioned what state I'm purchasing in, or refinancing in, rather. And so, there's really no way for you to know who this individual is. I highly doubt this guy listens to my podcast. If you do, I'm sorry, my friend. But I think this teaches a very important lesson that I just wanted to get out there, folks, because let's set it up this way, okay? One of the biggest complaints that appraisers have, and rightfully so, I've been on this bandwagon myself, against AMCs is their insistence on following up, almost to the point of ad nauseum, right? Calls, texts, emails. When will this report be in? Did you do the inspection? What can we expect here? You get a revision request. It's like, you got 4 hours to complete this thing and send it back, right? Where is it? And we get so tired of this, right? Rightfully so. It's a pain. Sometimes I want to say, if you would just leave me alone and let me do my work, then I'd probably have it into you a whole lot faster than it's getting into you right now, right? And I think we've all experienced that frustration. Now, with that set up, I will have to say this. I'm gonna side today with the AMCs. I don't normally do that, but today I'm going to say, there's a reason that they do this. And honestly, it's hard for you and I to believe, because if you're listening to this program, you're not the type of appraiser that I'm going to talk about today, okay? But I'm telling you, folks, that when I talk to the AMC guys, the AMC gals, the people that work at the AMCs, they tell me that this is a constant frustration with them, is the lack of communication from appraisers, okay? The lack of updating from appraisers. And that they have no idea what to tell their lenders, what to tell their borrowers, what to tell the parties that are involved, because the appraisers won't communicate. And honestly, I have a hard time even really understanding and being in that world, being empathetic, if you will, because that is so not like our company. For years and years and years, I've built our reputation on making sure that we are in constant communication with our clients and updating them along the process and making sure that they know exactly where we are. I think that's just professional. It's just the way that we should be. Okay, I've set it up. I beat around the bush long enough. Here we go. Time to grab him by the old belt and throw him under the bus. Here we go. The experience that I have had with this individual since the podcast has been nothing but frustrating and dismal. And I just want to say pull my hair out, but you all know me. I don't have any, at least on my head. It's frustrating, folks. And here's the deal. This guy has refused to update the lender, refused to update the client, the AMC. This is an AMC situation, so I'm dealing with the loan officer. The loan officer is dealing with the AMC. The AMC is, and she keeps calling him the appraisal coordinator, but it's an AMC. And the AMC is dealing with this appraiser. This appraiser refuses to give any updates. Emails are sent. Text messages have been sent. Phone calls ad nauseum have been sent with absolutely zero, nothing back for 2.5 weeks. Now, here I am, folks, against my deadline. And when I say deadline, I mean my lock on my loan, which doesn't seem like a big deal, except have you seen what interest rates have been doing lately? They're not going down, and they're not staying steady. So if I lose this lock, all of a sudden I have to now look at locking again and going with a different appraiser. By the way, we're paying top dollar for this. I think it's a $900 appraisal fee on this thing, okay, for a single-family home. And the appraiser refuses to return phone calls, refuses to give updates. I have no clue until last night. I'm going to tell the rest of the story here. I had no clue until last night what was going on this thing. Absolutely nothing. No updates, no nothing. And here I am creeping. My lock expires in 4 days, folks. This appraisal was due 7 business days ago. That's more than a week and a half ago. The appraisal, let me repeat that. The appraisal was due 7 days ago. No update. No, I'm so sorry. I've run into trouble. Nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. Here we are up against a deadline. All right. With that in mind, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story when we get back from the sponsorship. But I want to share with you the ability to keep everybody updated, folks. Did you know that ANow will do that for you automatically? That's right. If your client will order the appraisal through ANow, every time you move through a process, a step in ANow, it will actually send an email and an update to your client. How cool is that? It's built in. It's automatic. These are the kind of things that ANow does for you because this is a program, this is a software, this is a business solution that was created by appraisers. They know what you need, and they built it right into their software. It's ANow software, ANOW.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. I, of course, was on the line just frequently trying to get updates on this appraisal that I'm getting done with nothing in return, nothing. I had called, and folks, when I call the appraiser's phone number, it goes immediately to voicemail every time, like no ringing. He constantly has it on Do Not Disturb all day long. This is his business line. I kid you not, okay? And I'm calling and I'm calling and I'm calling and nothing at all is getting done. So frustrating, so incredibly frustrating. I've talked to the loan officer. The loan officer says, I have no idea. I keep asking the appraisal coordinator. The appraisal coordinator has not heard from this guy. They're thinking about jumping ship and going to a different appraiser. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. We go to a different appraiser. All of a sudden we have to back up and we're on the starting line again. We're going to miss our lock. And she's like, I know, it's frustrating. Now, she shared with me, she meaning the loan officer, shared with me several stories of things that she's dealt with that are very, very similar to this, all over. This is a nationwide lender, okay? And she told me about appraisers in Colorado and Florida and Texas that had done the same thing to her. Basically had accepted the appraisal order, they had accepted a due date, and then nothing. No update as to when the appraisal inspection was being scheduled, no update as to when they can expect the report, nothing. They just went over the due date and absolutely nothing. Now, folks, let me back up and be clear. I do not think that this is you. I know it's not you. Okay, you wouldn't be listening to this program if you were this type of appraiser. The reason I've shared this minisode with you today and this experience with you is because I think it helps at least a little bit to explain why it is that the AMCs are so frustrated and so constantly following up with us. But more importantly, there's a bigger lesson here. Okay, and I'll hold that for just a couple seconds. So I got a message just 2 days ago from my loan officer and this is what it reads. Got a message from your appraiser finally. Okay, here's the message. All right, order message on blank 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 address. The subject is late due to the owner being out of town. This is over my expertise. Please reassign. Thank you. That's the message. The subject is late due to the owner being out of town. What? I don't live in town. I've never even been to this property. He knew that to begin with. When I first talked to him, I helped him to understand that this is a short-term rental property. Okay? I am not there. I've never seen the property. I won't be there. Here's the code to the door. It's completely vacant on these days. You're welcome to go in anytime that you want and do your thing. The subject is late due to the owner being out of town. Sorry, calling BS on that one. This is over my expertise. In other words, he knew everything that he needed to know about this property up front. I was very clear with how many square foot it was, what the situation was. From the beginning, it was a very clear and open. He had the Zillow listing. He had everything to look at the property. By the way, the Zillow listing actually, I think, is pretty accurate. Right? He knew what he was getting into. This is BS, folks. And I'm telling you, it is frustrating as hell being on the other side of this table. Okay, now, again, I want to make it very clear. Very, very clear. I don't think this is my audience. Okay, you wouldn't be here if this was you. But I wanted to share this story with you for two reasons. By the way, I called up the appraiser. It took me 7 phone calls to finally get through to him. Okay, I found another number by doing a little sleuthing, and I finally got, I think it was his home number, I don't know, but I finally got a hold of him. I think it was his wife who gave him the phone, right? And by the way, he hung up on me. I don't know if it was on purpose. He wasn't mad at me. We were like halfway through the conversation, click, it was gone. I was like, oh my gosh, I got out what I needed to get off. That's fine. Let's move forward, right? I finally called the guy, talked to him. I said, hey man, I'm really in a stick here, right? I've got 4 days before my lock expires. If we assign this to another appraiser, we're going to be in big, big trouble. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job, but what is the problem? When you say it's over your expertise, what specifically is over your expertise? And he said it was the short-term rental aspect of the rent schedule. And I said, then don't do a short-term rental schedule. Do a long-term rental schedule. I don't care. They just need a 1007. Please, my friend, please do me a favor. And he finally agreed. And at the point of this recording, okay, we are now 3 days before my lock expires. I followed up with his office this morning. I called them. I did get a hold of somebody, and they said he's working on it. Okay, that's where we're at, folks. Please, please, please. When I talk about the friendly aspect of the Arnold Palmer effect, remember that cannot be replaced by the professional aspect. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. I hear appraisers all the time complain, we should be treated like professionals, dang it. Why aren't we treated like professionals? Honestly, folks, because some of us don't act like it. Now, some of us do. Thankfully, you do. Thank you, my kind, dear, lovely listeners. I know this is not you, but I wanted to share with you the experience so that you kind of get a clue as to why AMCs and lenders are so frustrated, why they follow up so frequently, because there are a few bad apples out there, okay? And then the other thing that I wanted to share that I saved to the end is, folks, this is what gives you a leg up. This is what we talk about and what we mean when we talk about quality. To run a business, to be a professional, right? Show your lenders that you can be counted upon. You can sit back and complain all day long about how often the AMCs follow up, or you can do like my office and just be proactive. We don't hardly ever get asked, unless it's an automatic thing that gets sent out by their computers. We hardly ever get asked for an update. Why? Because they don't have to. They already know. Keep people in the loop, keep it professional, keep listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast. Love you all. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.